What's up guys, Justin here with TheSketchUpEssentials.com. So in today's video, we're gonna model a fire escape for our model that we've been creating of the downtown city in SketchUp. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna model out a fire escape based on this back wall right here. So I thought about doing it over here, but I'm not 100% sure how it would interface with these windows. So we're just gonna model it back here for simplicity's sake. And so the first thing I wanna do, or I guess the first thing I wanna say is, I don't know what the actual dimensions of a fire escape would be. I kind of looked them up a little bit, but I didn't really see a ton that was super helpful. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna come in here and we're just going to try to get close on these dimensions. But basically what I wanna do is I wanna start off just by roughing out my platform. And so I'm assuming that this is maybe gonna extend past this window, maybe 12 inches. And then I'm assuming we're gonna be able to keep this fairly narrow and maybe have it out maybe like 5 feet or something like that. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start by just drawing this rectangle in here like this. And this is just to kind of give us our base. So then we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna draw this in. And so I'm assuming that the steps, or this is probably going to be like a platform right here. And I'm assuming maybe that we're gonna have another 6 inches on either side of the windows like this. So this is basically the length that we have in order to generate our stair. And then we're also going to draw a line up that's going to represent the height of our stair, like this. Well, now I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna right click on it, and I'm gonna divide this line. That's gonna allow me to figure out how many segments we have in here based on your riser height. And so for simplicity's sake, I'm gonna assume these risers can be 1 foot. 1 foot might be a lot, but it seems like the fire escapes are generally steeper, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go with this. So when we did that, basically what this did, right, if you pay attention to the number of segments that it created, this gave us 11 segments. And so what I can do is I can come in here and I can right click and I can divide this into 11 segments as well, just like this. And so then I can just kind of draw a line up, and I'm going to use that segment length in order to figure out the width of the stair riser that's going to go in here like this. So we're just going to draw a line in here like this, and we're just gonna use this in order to create our riser, and we can get rid of that step right here. But then I'm just gonna pull this up, and we're gonna assume that this can have a height of maybe like 1.5 inches. So I'm just gonna type in 1.5 and call that good. And then I'm gonna select this whole thing, right click on it, we're gonna make it a component, and I'm gonna call this stair riser, and click on create. Well, now, all I have to do is make a copy using the move tool, right? So select it, tap the M key and tap Control, and then click, and then I can take this whole thing, and I can move it so that it aligns with basically my second riser location right here. Well, now, all I have to do is just use the move tool in copy mode and create an array like this. So I'm gonna create this copy, then I'm gonna type in times probably 9, right here. And actually we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna call this good, because we're gonna assume that last step is just gonna go up onto the platform right here. And so now what I'm gonna do is, first off, I'm gonna block out the hole that's gonna be in here. So I'm gonna draw a line over like this. I'm gonna draw a line over like this. Then I'm gonna erase out all of this extra that's in here like this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line through here, and I want to continue this down. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and continue it up so that it aligns with this point right here. Then I'm just going to use the move tool in copy mode again. I'm going to move this over so that it aligns with this point. And then I'm going to draw a line across here and a line across here like this. And then we're just going to pull this out. And again, we're going to call this maybe 1.5 inches, which might be a little bit too thick, but I think it's going to work for what we're doing right here. So now we've got this stair generally roughed out. And so what I want to do is I'm going to take this whole thing, I'm going to select it, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to make it a component, and we're just going to call this stair. And what I want to do is I want to make a copy of it up like this. And remember that you want to make that a component, so any of the changes that we make are going to be reflected in here. But then I'm going to type in a times 3 like this. And now we've got our general stair in here. Okay, so now we need to add our structural member that goes around the outside here, right? And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna draw a simple structural member like this. So I'll just draw this face. I'll offset it in just a little bit. And I am by no means going through and figuring out the actual dimensions of a structural member in here. Again, I'm just kind of creating something that's close. I'm probably actually going to take these edges and kind of move them over because I don't think it's going to have flanges that are anywhere near that big. But basically now, I just want to double click like this, and I want to get rid of these edges. I want to make sure that I've picked up this edge right here. Remember that we're trying to pick up just the perimeter of this whole thing, but then I'm going to use the Follow Me tool to extrude this around the outside. And apparently I have picked up some extra edges in here when I did that. And so to make this simpler, I think I'm just going to come in here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select this stair. I'm going to pull this edge out and I'm going to put all of this in a group, and I'm going to hide it for a second because what I want, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this. We basically want a simple shape where we can select it, and then we can use the Follow Me tool in order to extrude this like this. So notice what that does is that gives us the ability to just kind of add this this channel support in here like this. And then what I want to do is I kind of want to use this shape right here as kind of a template. So I'm just going to draw an extra edge across here, an extra edge across here. And I'm going to go ahead and push-pull this across. And I'm going to make this kind of like a structural support member, like it's a tube. And so what I'm doing, right, is I'm basically roughing out a structure right here. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to add basically the steel members that are going to go across the top here that make up the top of my fire escape. And so the way that I want to do that is, first off, I want to take this whole thing and I want to put it in a group so I don't have to worry about things merging in here. Then, and there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but I'm just basically going to right click on this and I'm going to divide this. I'm going to break this out to basically 2-inch segments, pretty close, and I'm just going to model across like this. And you could do this with like round tubes or something if you wanted to as well, but I'm just going to take this and make it a component, and we're just going to call this steel floor short. And we can go ahead and use the move tool in copy mode to put these in here. I'm going to copy these across, and notice on this side this is shorter, so what I want to do is just right click and select these and just select the option to make them unique. And so when I make them unique, that's going to make these all kind of a unique copy of that component right here like this. And then I'm also going to use the move tool in copy mode to create this copy, but this becomes the long one, right? So I'm going to right click on this and make it unique as well. Then I can just kind of push pull that out. And then I can go ahead and I can make copies of this one as well. And I can type in ×5 or ×6, hit the enter key in order to create those copies. And so if you wanted to, you could come in here and you could model out the horizontal supports as well. So in this case, right, I might draw a line across here and I might divide this into 3 segments so that I could create a support that runs across here, but I'm just going to draw this up. I'm going to make this a component, and we'll push pull this across. I'll make a copy over here on this edge. And I'll do the same thing over here. Make this unique. And then in this case, I may just use the move tool in copy mode. Type in divided by 3 or divided by 4 to get that spacing close. And now I've got a support that actually looks kind of realistic in here. And go back in here and do an edit, unhide all. Whoops. In order to get our stairs back. So now all we need to do is add our rails. And so you can make these rails as simple or as complicated as you want to. In this case, I'm just assuming they're going to have some kind of a steel tube in here. But I'm going to go ahead and draw a line up to whatever the height of that rail needs to be. I guess we can assume maybe 4 feet. But I'm just going to draw a path. Then we'll just draw a circle on the wall. Maybe a 5/8 radius. Then we'll use the follow me tool in order to extrude that. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make that a group. And then I'm just going to use a cylinder and I'm just going to extrude up into this. And I can just take this whole thing and make it a component, call it vertical support. And I don't know why the object axis is way over there. I'm just going to put that over here. Oh, that's why, because I accidentally picked this piece up as well. There we go. Okay, but again, we can just use the move tool in copy mode and create copies across here. Do the same thing over here. And I'm just kind of eyeballing the spacing. You could definitely come in here and measure that as well. But I think that gets me pretty close. Then I'm going to take these and I'm going to copy them over here like this. Notice how I did not put those inside of this component. So I'm just going to select them and do a Control X, double click in here and then do an edit, paste in place so that they're inside of that component so that they're repeated across those different sides like this. And then last thing we can do is I'm just going to come in here really quick and just model out a safety rail on this stair right here. And I'm just going to draw an edge as a guide. I'll go ahead and have this go up maybe 2 feet. And then I'll just pick this midpoint and have it go right here. So for the midpoint, all we have to do is just draw a circle on this edge and we'll just give it maybe like a 1/4 inch radius and push pull it over here. But then this other one will do the same thing. And I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger, maybe like a 1/2 inch. I'm going to delete out all this extra stuff. And one thing we're going to want to do real quick is just select this and make it a group so that now when we use the follow me tool, when we select this path, it's not interfering with the follow me operation, right? So I'm just going to take this whole thing, activate the follow me tool, then click right here. I don't know why it's not liking this path. There must be something extra selected here in the middle. So I'm just going to push pull this down and I'm just going to split this edge here and we'll just extrude this up. There we go. That's a valid path. And then I'm just going to take this, I'm going to use the erase tool and I'm going to hold the shift key and I'm just going to hide those edges in here so that that doesn't really show up in my scene. But you can see how here now we've got a fire escape that runs up these different levels. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add one more of them here. So I'm going to use the move tool in copy mode to move this up. We'll go ahead and align this right here. But this last one, I want to right click on it. I want to make it unique so that I can erase out the stair on the very top. All right, so that's where I'm going to end this video. If you have any questions about anything we talked about, feel free to leave them down below. If you are interested in learning more about how to use SketchUp, make sure you check out my course. I will link to that on this page. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.